Imagine waking up one morning to find that humanity has unlocked the ultimate cosmic DIY project, turning Venus, it's the hellish second planet from the Sun, into a lush, habitable world. Sounds like science fiction? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the bold, bizarre, and brilliant ideas scientists have dreamed up for transforming our fiery neighbor into a second Earth. First, let's talk about what makes Venus such a nightmare in the first place. From far away, Venus might look like Earth's twin. Similar size, rocky surface, and even a comparable gravitational pull. But once you get closer, the dream turns into a furnace. Venus has a thick atmosphere made of carbon dioxide, trapping heat so effectively that its surface temperature can melt lead. We're talking about 465 degrees Celsius, hotter than any pizza oven on Earth. The air pressure is about 90 times greater than what we feel here. So standing on Venus would feel like being 900 meters underwater. And as a bonus, the clouds are full of sulfuric acid. Definitely not tourist friendly. Right? So, how do we fix this planetary disaster? Our first step is to tackle the atmosphere. The biggest problem is the greenhouse effect. Carbon dioxide makes up 96% of the atmosphere. So if we can remove or lock away that gas, we can start cooling the planet. One crazy idea is to use giant space mirrors, literally, enormous reflective shields in orbit around Venus, to block sunlight and let the planet slowly cool over centuries. These mirrors would act like a giant pair of sunglasses for Venus, shading it until the temperatures drop. Another approach is to use chemistry on a massive scale. Imagine sending fleets of robotic factories to Venus. Surface or high atmosphere to capture carbon dioxide and convert it into solid carbon or even useful compounds. Some proposals suggest using imported hydrogen from Jupiter or Saturn to react with the CO and produce graphite in water. Over time, this would drastically thin the atmosphere, reducing pressure and temperature. But here's where the story gets even wilder. Floating cities in the sky, the upper atmosphere of Venus, about 50 kilometers above the surface, actually has temperatures and pressures similar to Earth's. It's still acidic, but in theory humans could live in massive, balloon-like cities while the planet below is being transformed. Think of it as camping out in the clouds while you renovate the ground beneath you. Now, cooling Venus is only part of the challenge. We also need to get rid of that toxic acid rain. The sulfuric acid clouds could be neutralized by spraying alkaline compounds into the atmosphere. Something like massive aerial crop dusting. But instead of fertilizer, we'd be using neutralizing chemicals on a planetary scale. Once the heat drops and the air clears, we'll need to give Venus an oxygen-rich atmosphere. On Earth, plants and microorganisms have been doing that job for billions of years, so why not recruit them for our project? We could engineer hardy bacteria, algae, and plants to survive in Venus's new environment and slowly release oxygen through photosynthesis. Over thousands of years, we could replace the CO heavy air with a breathable mix. But there's still one more twist. Venus spins very slowly. One day on Venus lasts 243 Earth days. That means sunlight beats down on one side for months, cooking it, while the other side freezes. To make the planet more livable, we might need to speed up its rotation, which sounds insane, but in theory, we could use giant asteroid flybys or gravitational assists to give Venus a little push over millions of years. Or, instead of spinning it faster, we could build a huge ring of orbital mirrors and reflectors to spread sunlight evenly around the planet. Of course, all of this would take thousands, maybe millions of years, and unimaginable resources. We'd need fleets of autonomous machines, massive amounts of imported materials, and the patience of countless generations. But think about the payoff. Oceans where there was once scorched. Rock forests replacing lifeless plains, clouds of water instead of acid, and perhaps even cities filled with future generations who look up at a blue sky and call Venus home. Some scientists even suggest going halfway, not terraforming the surface, but instead building floating habitats permanently in Venus's upper atmosphere. These cloud cities could have Earth-like conditions without waiting for the centuries-long process of full terraforming. It's a faster, more achievable version of making Venus habitable. And it might be humanity's first real step toward interplanetary colonization. And here's the best part. Terraforming Venus would teach us how to fix problems here on Earth. By learning to control greenhouse gases, manage planetary climates, and engineer ecosystems from scratch, we'd gain the ultimate tools to protect our own world. In other words, the road to Venus might lead us right back home, better equipped to face whatever challenges Earth throws at us. So, could we really do it? The answer is maybe. The science is wild but not impossible. The technology isn't here yet, but the ideas are real. The timeline is long, but humanity has a knack for doing the impossible, given enough time, ambition, and curiosity. Turning Venus into a habitable world would be the ultimate act of planetary transformation. A cosmic renovation project on a scale that dwarfs anything we've ever attempted. But maybe, just maybe one day in the distant future, the evening star will shine not as a symbol of mystery and danger, but as a second home for humankind. So, next time you look up at that bright point of light in the evening sky, imagine the oceans, forests, and cities that could one day be there. And remember, every great adventure starts with an impossible dream.